So my name is Johan Stokking. I am CTO and co-founder of the Things Industries, and I take care of all the technicalities at the Things Industries. So that includes our technical architecture, engineering, operations, and our technical strategy. So our main product that we built at the Things Industries is called the Things Stack, and we deploy that in several ways. So we have the Things Stack Cloud, that's our managed cloud offering. We have the Things Stack Enterprise that allows our customers to run the Things Stack in their own domain. And we also have an open source distribution for developers to get acquainted with our APIs and developer experience. So when we redesigned the Things Stack a few years ago, it's actually our third version that we built within the Things industry since we started in 2015. And we started from scratch because we understood what the market needed. So a LoRaWAN topology consists of LoRaWAN end devices, gateways, and a network server. The end devices implement LoRaWAN, that's a standard specification published by the LoRa Alliance, and they are wirelessly covered by gateways. And gateways are directly connected to a network server. And that's what the Things Stack is. It's an implementation of LoRaWAN on the server side. The network server takes care of activating devices, routing messages, decoding the binary payload, so making sense of the data that the end devices send, and also sending it towards the applications or IoT platforms that our users and customers are using. So the Things Stack is a product, and it's a very versatile product that can be deployed in many different ways. So the Things Industries offers the Things Stack as a fully managed cloud offering. We call that the Things Stack Cloud. But we also have a version that customers can install in their own domain. So that could be a private cloud, but it can also be on premises. And we call that the Things Stack Enterprise. And we allow them to install that using very simple and small Docker image. But we also have advanced Kubernetes deployment that allows for high availability deployments in advanced cloud scenarios. Last year, we released a new feature that is part of the Things Stack Cloud and Cloud Plus, and it's called the Network Operations Center. And it allows our users and customers to get really deep insight in how their network is performing. So for example, you can see the gateway performance, channel utilization, data rates that are used for each frequency. And it allows you really to optimize if your gateways are covering the devices, if you need to add more gateways and things like that. That's on the gateway side, but we also have a network operations center for end devices. So here you can see which gateways are covering your end devices, which channels they are using, if there are any high noise levels for specific channels that you may want to eliminate. And this all allows you to increase battery life and overall network performance. So in the Things Stack, we support all the LoRaWAN versions and also all the LoRaWAN regions. And to make it easier, because there are so many different combinations of LoRaWAN versions and device profiles and different regions and all kinds of settings, we built a device repository. And that's a repository where device makers can contribute all the device profiles. So for example, vendors, device makers, they can contribute all the device models that they have and all the characteristics. And it allows our users and customers to select which devices they want to add to the network without having to enter all the settings of these end devices. And this is not just the device profile with the LoRaWAN version and region, but also the codecs to use when making sense of the binary payload. And this makes it really easy to add devices to your LoRaWAN network. So getting data into the Things Stack is easy. You can add devices using the device repository, you can add gateways, but getting data out on the other side, we make that also quite easy by using our integrations. So we have all kinds of integrations with different IoT platforms to make it very easy to extract data and to get access to streaming data. Besides that, we also have low-level data integrations. So for example, you can configure HTTP webhooks to automatically get all the payloads at a particular endpoint. Not only uplink data, but also all kinds of other events like downlink that's being scheduled and actually sent, or confirmations of messages when they were actually accepted by an end device and things like that. And if you want, you can also get access to our MQTT server. We support all LoRa gateways out there. In our documentation, you can see guides to connect gateways. One of the protocols that we support is Basic Station, and it allows you to remotely configure gateways. So you don't have to configure security credentials or frequency plans in the gateway. Your gateway, just dial it to an endpoint, and we can configure the gateway remotely through the Thing stack. So far, I only covered the scenario where you have your end devices, gateways, and your the Thing stack deployment. But in many cases, because we're using shared spectrum in LoRaWAN, you receive a lot of traffic from other gateways, and your devices are also covered by gateways that are owned by other networks. And to facilitate traffic exchange between networks, we build a service called Packet Broker. And this is to interconnect multiple LoRaWAN networks. This is all available as part of the Thing Stack Sandbox, which is our community edition of the Thing Stack, but also the Thing Stack Cloud. So our customers, they can configure to exchange traffic with each other, and they also make use of the coverage by the community network, while still having their end devices and gateways and applications managed in their own environment. The easiest way to get started with the Thing Stack is using our cloud distribution. It's fully managed, and to get started with it free of charge, you can start with our Discovery tier that allows you to use the features of the Thing Stack Cloud at a very small scale. Our cloud offering is then an elastic offering where you pay for the number of devices that you have in your account. Besides that, if you need to run the Thing Stack in your own domain, you can get a license on the Thing Stack Enterprise. And with that, you can install the Thing Stack Enterprise on your Kubernetes or Docker environment. For educational purposes and R&D, you can also use the Thing Stack Sandbox. That's our free tier, where you can collaborate with community networks to find your 0-to-1 use case. An exciting new feature in the LoRaWAN ecosystem is Relay. It's a standard specification published by the LoRa Alliance, and it allows you to extend the gateway coverage by using standard LoRaWAN devices. The way this works is that devices that are, for example, on the edges of the network that are hard to reach by traditional gateways can be covered by a relay. So these are intermediate LoRaWAN devices that can be used to forward traffic by end devices. There are primarily two use cases for relay. One is network expansion. So for instance, if you have 20 or 30 devices that are on the edges of the network that cannot be covered by a gateway, you can put a relay there to forward the traffic by those 20 or 30 end devices to the gateway. Another scenario is to cover devices that are very hard to reach by gateways that are, for example, outside. So think of devices that are in a fridge in a basement, for instance. You can use a relay to forward traffic from those devices to gateways that are standing outside. LoRaWAN makes use of symmetric cryptography. And this means that you need to have the same security credentials in the end device as well as somewhere in the cloud. But when device makers provision these devices, they don't yet know where these devices will be activated, on which network. And a solution for this is to provision the security credentials on a joint server. And a joint server is a standard component in the LoRaWAN architecture that allows end devices to activate themselves on any LoRaWAN network. So as part of the Thing Stack offering, we also have a joint server. And this can be used by device makers to securely provision their security credentials before the devices are actually being shipped and claimed by the owners of the devices. It doesn't matter if these devices end up on the Thing Stack Cloud or the Thing Stack Enterprise or the Thing Stack Sandbox or even open source or even another LoRaWAN network that's not the Thing Stack. So the Things Joint Server is a standard component that can be used by any LoRaWAN network. The Things Joint Server is not only for device makers. It can also be used for distributors or large system integrators that purchase a large batch of devices and need to stay in control and own the root keys. So for example, if you want to use the Thing Stack Cloud and you trust the Things Industries with handling your data, your network data, your application data, you still may want to control the root keys in your own security domain. And by using the Things Joint Server in any way you want on your own servers, on premises, or in private cloud, you can use that in combination with the Thing Stack Cloud. So we announced a new certification program. So we already have certifications for professionals that know a lot about LoRaWAN and they want to get a certification for that. Now we also have certification for end devices. And this is complementary to the existing LoRaWAN certification. So works with the Thing Stack means that these devices are verified to work with the Thing Stack and that they behave well. We also have a label secured by the Thing Stack, and this means that the devices are actually securely provisioned on the Things Join server. And finally, we have built with the Thing Stack, and this is for integrated solutions to provide a confidence that at the heart of the solution is the Thing Stack. New in the LoRaWAN ecosystem is satellite integration, and this is something we are really excited about. So we've already been hearing a lot about Lacuna Space. They provide satellite coverage by LEO satellites, so low Earth orbit satellites, using ISM bands. And this is really exciting and very useful for devices that are sending data to satellite. Now we also announced a partnership with EchoStar, and they have a geostationary satellite, which is 36,000 kilometers away. And using S-band, so a proprietary license band, devices can communicate bidirectionally with their satellite. This means that devices can actually join and send uplink and downlink messages through their gateway. We have a native integration with them, and that means that our users and customers can make use of their satellite coverage right in the Thing Stack cloud, as if they were dealing with normal LoRaWAN devices. And in fact, these devices are LoRaWAN devices.